a good maybe even 20 years ago, I was doing something in Jersey City on my way, I don't know, maybe to Manhattan, and I was at Journal Square, and I was going up that elevator, and on the other side, there was a trans woman who was going down the elevator. And I think we both got on at about the same time, and about 10 seconds into the ride, I saw these kids start running on the escalator down to try to catch up with the trans woman. And they were laughing, and they were making fun of her, and they were getting loud and saying all kinds of words that I'm not going to say. And there was this moment where when I was going up and she was going down, there was this moment of intersection when I caught her eye. And at that moment, I had this fantasy. I kind of left my body, and I imagined myself as Errol Flynn in Robin Hood. And I saw myself jumping over the escalator with a sword and not hurting the kids, but kind of swiping the buttons off of their shirt and pulling down their pants and making them look stupid and grabbing the damsel in distress and taking a rope and tying it over a column, and we'd swing over up onto the top of the platform, and everybody would cheer, and I would be a hero. I didn't actually do any of that. What I actually did was nothing. I had a few reasons. One of them was, well, if I did anything, it actually might get worse for her, and I might get hurt, and maybe this is just going to be where she just gets jeered at, but maybe both she and I would get hurt, and I don't even know what I would do if I was going to do anything, but I did nothing. And that diminished me. And the reason I feel like it diminished me, you can't be diminished if there's already something there, right? Diminishment suggests that there was more to you than there seemed. And I felt, and to this day feel that's true, that maybe she looked at me, and maybe you now are looking at me and seeing a cowardly, middle-aged soccer mom. But that's only because you don't know who I am inside. You don't know that inside of me is somebody exquisite and noble. Somebody good. Somebody who is actually a hero. I think that every disciple that ever followed Jesus felt the same way. Because why else would Matthew, the tax collector, with a perfectly good job and a comfortable living, get up from his desk and follow Jesus? It had to be because when Jesus looked at him, he didn't see somebody in a cheap suit with a comb over. But instead, when Jesus looked into Matthew's eyes, and Matthew must have seen it too, who Jesus saw was this amazing child of God, this hero, this person who could just light the world on fire with his joy. And why else would Peter and Andrew at their family's fishing business just get up when Jesus says, "Come and follow me," and walk away from a generations-old family operation? I think that the only possible reason is because when Jesus smiled at them, they knew that he didn't see what everybody else saw, which was just the stuff on the outside. These stinky, illiterate fishermen who'd never been farther than Kearney. When Jesus saw them, they could just tell that somehow Jesus saw the keeper of the keys to the kingdom of heaven. The ambassadors of the kingdom of God, princes of the Most High. And that's why they went with him. And that's why everybody in this procession leading up to Jerusalem today is following Jesus. And when we see him coming up the hill, when we're watching, probably what we see, or what everybody else sees, is just a bunch of prostitutes and lepers and children and confused-looking rabbis and soldiers gone AWOL and petty bureaucrats, with this carpenter who's riding a colt, thinking that he's a king. But the reason that everybody around just sees that is because they don't know who these people Jesus is with really are. They don't know that every single last one of them is a hero, is a saint, is heaven's royalty on earth. And this crowd has asked us to join with them. And just for this morning, to suspend our disbelief. And to have all of us, every single last one of us, imagine what it would really be. What would it be like to be your finest self? To have that hero, that saint that's inside of you that no one else can see. Have that person come out. Have that person risk everything and live a holy, fearless, beautiful life. And we almost decide that we'll join in. That is until everything goes terribly wrong. Until this fisherman, tax collector, carpenter, crazy army winds up confused because their Messiah, who's riding an ass, gets arrested. And why is he getting arrested? There's so many reasons. Because he's holding a parade without a license. Because he's causing a public disturbance. He's arrested for blasphemy. He's arrested for treason. He's arrested because he's claiming that he has this authority to forgive the unforgivable. And for so many other reasons. He does get enthroned, but his throne is the cross. And I'm telling you, there was a moment When that happened, when he got crucified, when I thought I'm going to go with him, my finest self is in here. And really, a part of me wanted to go and plead his innocence. But I could have made it even worse if I did. I didn't know what would happen, and so I ran away. And it broke my heart. But then I got really angry. And I got angry because Jesus made me feel things that are just too dangerous to feel. And he got me caught up in believing in a fantasy, in a fairy tale. And then I wound up being humiliated by that in public and ashamed. I hated him for that. So he died, and I went back to my office. And you went back to your boat. And all the other people, the hustlers, went back to hustling. And the street vendors just went back to selling hot dogs. And we all tried to forget. And no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't unsee that time when he turned the water into wine. We couldn't unwitness when he healed the sick, when he raised the dead. And worst of all, we couldn't unhear that even though we didn't show up, even though every single last one of us ran away, we couldn't unhear when he said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do."